Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of r/entitled parents. Entitled stepmother got herself banned from my wedding. 28 male, stepmother, 49 female, is a wannabe party planner. She has taken it upon herself to plan and host every party and holiday my dad's family has thrown since she married him. I never loved those occasions growing up. She's controlling and gets upset if people complain about anything, but humored her for my dad's sake. According to him, this helps her feel included. I'm getting married to my fiancée Jane, 26 female, in July. We got engaged in early 2021, but Jane ended up getting pregnant a couple months after that, and we decided to postpone the wedding to focus on our son for a while. So we've had a long engagement. My stepmother has tried to hijack our wedding plans from day one, complaining, contacting our planner, showing up unannounced to Jane's dress appointments, etc., and we have repeatedly asked her to stop. Dad wants us to humor her, but she's clearly resentful of the fact that she's not hosting the wedding or being labeled mother of the groom in invitations. Besides our baby boy, we also have Luke, 4, male, Jane's paternal half-brother. She got custody of him a few months into our relationship, after his parents died. I ended up moving in with them during the pandemic and have been in Luke's life since he was a baby. He doesn't call me dad and refers to us as his sister and his OP, but we love him like a son. Stepmother, though, hates Luke. She accuses Jane of baby-trapping her way into the family. That accusation only got worse after our son was born. My dad gets along with Jane and adores the kids, but stepmother demands him to refuse babysitting Luke, so we don't leave the kids with them often. Instead, Jane's brother and sister-in-law usually watch the kids for us, as their children are close to ours in age. We had a thing last Sunday, and my brother-in-law was out of town with his family. Jane's other siblings live in different cities, as well as my mom and sister. My dad agreed to babysit at our place, and we left. We came back to find both kids crying, stepmother screaming, and dad weakly trying to calm everyone down. Apparently, Luke had told stepmother that both he and our son were going to be our ring bearers, and she went ballistic. She screamed that she wasn't going to allow that because he wasn't family. She then made me need to include the trigger warning when he started crying. His lip is still split. She'd never gotten to this point before. We immediately banned her from our house and from our wedding. Dad is fuming and has said he's not going without her. He's also convinced half of his side of the family, by severely downplaying what stepmother did, to boycott the wedding as well. This includes my stepbrother, who fully agrees with his mother no matter how many times I try to tell him the truth. Me and Jane are refusing to budge, but many of my cousins who aren't coming anymore are asking us to reconsider. Pretty much all of Jane's family agrees with us, but one of her aunts has suggested that maybe stepmother is acting out because she doesn't feel welcomed by my family. I've honestly had it with my family enabling her behavior. I love my dad and really want him at my wedding, but I am more than willing to go and see if it means protecting my family. Next story. Karen parked in my driveway that claimed the house was hers. So I am a 14-year-old male and my family recently moved into a house in a new estate. This estate had a park that was massive. My house is on the main road of the estate and its garage is on the other side on another road and we are close to the park. About 2 months ago they hosted an opening ceremony for the park. A lot of people came, people from the surrounding areas came as well. Me, my brother and my parents left our house and walked down to the park. Due to all the traffic there were people to manage it. Once we get there we see a car parked in our driveway. My dad is a calm dude usually, but he doesn't like stuff like this. Me and my brother, 18 years old, go up to one of the workers and tell him that the car in there wasn't ours and we don't want it there. The worker tells us he saw the people parked there and kind of remembers what they look like. We tell him that it would be good if we get the car moved. He says he will try find her. About 20 minutes later we see him walking up to the car with a lady and her son who looked to be about 9. She walks up there and we see her starting to get angry. Naturally we walk up to see what's happening. This is the conversation that happened, not 100% accurate, it's been a while. Karen, I don't understand why you want me to move my car. I live here. Worker, well they say that you don't and I don't see why they would bring this issue here unless it was true. Karen, they are clearly lying. I live here. My brother, ma'am, please. I live here and I even have keys to the house. Please move your car, Karen. Crap, complete crap. I have lived here for a year and watched this park get built. Our house was finished 5 months prior to this. My brother, okay then, what 2 cars are inside the garage then? Karen, a Volkswagen and a Mazda. My brother, nope, a VW Jetta and a Hyundai i45. Karen, that's not true, I'll open the garage and show you. As she scuffles through her handbag, my brother opens the garage. My brother, there, that's the evidence, closes the garage. Worker, it's not your house, so please leave. She gets in the car and leaves while looking very angry. We didn't think to call the cops because nothing major happened, but it was funny to see her lying out of her butt and getting proven wrong. Next story. Mother emotionally and intellectually manipulates son for years, turns psychotic when she realizes that her throwing the kid out after an argument dooms the entire rest of family. For context, hi, I'm Crayer, or as of late Delta Kruger, need to get that fixed. I'm the 27-year-old lad of this story. I am considered a high-functioning autistic individual, officially disabled by government standards. My mother for a long time, but especially these past 4 years, has been taking in and managing my checks from the government to keep the household afloat, making use of everything but $100 of it, which often got absorbed in moments of crisis as well since I didn't spend much. And while doing so was sowing seeds of doubt and fear into my mind about ever learning to live on my own. Stating I was very far from ever reaching that. I myself didn't really try to struggle or push my way out. Even when I turned 18, she offered to sign me up as a dependent, but I, thankfully, declined. I decided for the good of the family to keep working with them. That changed about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, my developmentally held back brain decided to say, oh, now it's time to teenager, and I suddenly craved independence, looking every which way for a way to flee gracefully. Every time though there was some unfortunate situation or action that meant that if I left with my 2 incomes, my mother became my personal support worker, which that has its own irony later on. The family would fall apart and I'd be dooming all the animals, some of which were never listed on our lease at the time and were hidden every inspection. Now what happens when you cage a teenager that so desperately wants to be their own thing? They get rebellious. 3 years ago, I got a therapist through my state insurance program, and after venting all the hoops my mom was making me jump through, and all the work that was piled on me due to mother's bum knee, and the stupid high expectations of me that would always end up creating screaming matches to her over those 3 years, she finally said to me as of roughly a week ago from this post that literally sounds like an abuse case. I initially dismissed that and said I'll keep it in mind as we ended the call that day, only to then immediately after get chewed out for jumping on a request my mom made earlier in the day as she had requested research for something that'd make another lengthy story. But regardless, she basically chewed me out for hounding her in an ill mental state due to current situation despite telling me 5 minutes prior to do the research for her. That's when I went back to my room and texted my therapist to start filling out the paperwork. One day later, Mom and I get into another spat, this time about the dishes which were my daily chore. Sure, it was assigned to me, but my drive to do crap for her was dead by that point when my effort can be shot down on a whim even though it was ordered. The argument is hazy in my head for many a reason, but the main one is Mom went feral the moment I snarked like a teen would. She slammed her way into my room to start grabbing crap and hucking it on the lawn, screaming for me to get out, breaking one of my monitors in the process. Dad stepped in and told her that since I was over 18 and on the lease, that I was legally given 30 days notice, which is when she stopped, turned to me, said, well then I'm gonna make those next 30 days hell for you, and walked to her room. Dad let me get the few things she did get on the lawn back inside at that point, and I sat down at my chair. Then it dawned on me, she played herself. For years she said that if I went away she would have to get rid of everything, and I mean everything. It was all propped up by my supplemental security income and the income she got being my personal support worker. Well, now she had given me and the government valid reason with her behavior alone that even if she rescinded the 30-day notice that we couldn't keep our home anyways. It was refreshing. In that moment I felt courage well up in my chest. She couldn't manipulate me anymore. She fell into what she had made of her life and was blind to my connections I made for years outside the family, constantly slamming them for being liberals. I took that renewed energy to reach out to those friends, those found families, my lovers, and even my grandparents. I looked through my cards and emails and found my disabilities care worker's info and told of the situation, and burnt the midnight oil chasing my new life while my mom literally pounded the adjacent wall between my bedroom and her bathroom, screaming like a banshee about not hearing me pack fast enough. To keep this from going on for ages, I'm gonna be brief on the next few stages to now. Grandparents saw this explosion brewing for years, opened arms and let me take my belongings and my bearded dragon pancake in while mother was away on psychiatric care. With my caseworker's help, I got my Social Security disability insurance under control, I got guidance on what steps to take next, and they're doing research for intermediary places after grandparents. Me and my boyfriend are looking into joining together and living somewhere in Washington, with my found family chipping in as well. As of today, I'm officially disowned from my family. My mother has not only disowned my grandparents, but also forced Dad to as well. I tried to contact them to drop me off the phone plan so I can keep my phone number, and all I got was the statement of disownment and that further contact will lead to a restraining order. I got a special state-related order to have their firearms reclaimed since mother is a psychopath and have my grandparents locking their doors now out of fear. I'm waiting for my case manager to get back to me to have my documents extracted from their residence, and basically all I got to do is play the waiting game, watching my parents burn cause mom pushed all their connections away. Even my brother, who's stoic as all hell, showed he was ready to fly too. So the main thing to take away from this is: learn to value yourself and judge the words of those even closest to you, for you never know if you're just a pay pig to your own mother. If people want, I can refine those breezed over parts, but that's enough to get the picture. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.